The idea for this DVD was inspired by a visit to the People's Palace in Glasgow by L.E.A.P members back in December 2004. A partnership was established between L.E.A.P and the People's Palace to enable local people in Cambuslang and Rutherglen to come together to discuss and recall memories of their working lives. A group of local people volunteered to be part of the Reminiscence and Video project, and their skills were used to compile this DVD with the support of staff from L.E.A.P and the People's Palace.
There was also a nail work. There was a nail work at Hallside, next to Hallside Steelworks.
The brickwork as well.
And the rope works. The rope works was
a
far
brickwork
across,
across the road.
And so was the bolt works.
Just down the road there. There was a brickwork.
The rope works.
Rope works, the farm cross.
But these
Farm
were
cross.
steel
Yeah, never
components,
farm cross,
weren't
they
they?
were.
Steel components and bolts
Yeah.
and things.
Then you'd shoot in Lloyd's.
There's also a farm in Lightburn Road,
That's right.
behind Jenkins's farm,
That's right, on Lightburn Road.
behind a bungalow, an old style bungalow. The stead was behind there. Okay, maybe only had 12 cows or something like that. But that was in the days when you get your milk delivered on stainless steel containers.
We should have that girl with us. Was that
Nimmo.
girl Nimmo?
She was
That
your
goes
milk
to the
girl.
walks. She was the milk girl when he was a wee boy. And she used to deliver the milk in the big cans.
Ah, you used to get a jug, what much you wanted. Never measured, just, then you go. Depending how good the coup was that day.
Mr. Archie Prentice, member of the group, shared his memories of his childhood and early working years in Cambuslang.
That's right.
There's a picture up there if I could give you a rundown. This is Cambuslang Terrace here, as we know it today. And you'll see an old building there with a sign on it. The top half is a dwelling house. The bottom half is a joiner's shop. In approximately 1920, that's where they made carts and wheels, etc. It was a cartwright owned by the name of Struthers. That eventually, next door to it was the blacksmith. And if a horse come in to get shoed, and it was kind of frisky, the joiner boy had to hold the horse while the shoes was put on, and that would be my dad, because that's where he served his time. Now you can imagine folk living up there. Would you like a cup of tea? Late to the saw stops, shaking the building, you know. That then fell into George Duran's son, after Struthers retired. He made the gypsy caravans, you know, the Gothic caravans that you see, the wooden caravans. He painted them as well, so there's a bit of history there. His son took over, and he just went into joinery work, but he also did a bit of cartwright as well, so it wasn't uncommon for maybe all of a sudden a tractor to come out of there with a trailer all painted fancy green and red. So that's a wee bit of history about that building there. There was no toilets, no running water. That was too modern for their days, you see. But that was that building there, which is now away, and that's where the terminus is, and these new houses are built just here. So that's a wee bit of history of that. There used to be, they're talking about coal mines. There was a pit over just to the right of that, on the toll pitch.
So when
Mrs. Betty McIntyre talks of the health hazards people faced whilst working. She refers to the workers in the chemical works and the shocking symptoms they experienced. Mr. Bill McFarlane explains the hair work cough.
they were general chemical works, they had jaundice, they were yellow, they had because their liver was shot up, and they had the septum of their nose was eroded with it, and they called them canaries because they talked with a whistle and they were yellow, and but they died early. That's
very interesting.
And they died miserably.
There was a factory in Rutherglen. It was called the Hair Work. My mother worked in when she was a young. Well, it was in Cathcart Road in Rutherglen, and there was a lane run behind the burn and up the factory lane into Glasgow Road. I've got all maps and about it. I think it was the processed hair, horsehair and that for stuffing
Furniture.
furniture. And it was nearly all women that worked in it. And there was a thing, they called it the hair work cough, because the air was full of this fibrous material, you know, this horsehair. And every time when they come out, the women were always coughing, hacking and coughing. And that was just, it was
Mr. Tom Tees is interviewed by Mrs. Betty McIntyre about his memories of working in Clydebridge Steelworks.
How long were you there?
I just come out of the army and I had a trade, but I declined. There was a furrier making fur coats, so I wanted a job where you could get money, and I went to Steelworks down at Clydebridge in 1951.
So it paid better to be a steel worker than a farrier,
A furrier would maybe be paying about £5 a week. A steel worker was getting about £20 a week.
Really?
So your family came first.
And that was in 1951? That was
1951, yeah.
And then you subsequently became the union rep?
Yes, I moved myself up, yes.
Now,
First of all, as a committee member in my union, I was interested in the
now, what was the union that represented me?
IST3, Ireland Trade Steel Confederation,
I see.
based in England. And the conditions of the place meant that you had to represent men in regard to your complaints and that, so that's why I joined the union. It was a close shop at the time, and from there I moved on to the committee member, and then I became the branch secretary, and then I became the convener of all the steels in Clydebridge. That took about 20 years, right?
Now, and what were the main problems that you had at that time
Uh,
that you addressed?
Health and safety was one. They do things that you would never get, you'd be charged now for doing.
Such
Also,
what kind of?
well, manhandling hot material, just an ordinary pair of gloves, not even reinforced or anything, or eating facilities. Like there was no place for to sit down at a table or something, some wee cabins you sat beside a furnace and things like that. So to improve all that, plus an amenity centre which we got built for showers and so forth, which men never had for 30 and 40 years. Before you left the steelwork, you could always have a shower and go home.
Did you have clothes for wearing in the industry?
At first you had your own clothes, but through negotiations and years we got safety clothes. But you could buy the boots, but other clothes were free.
And you left these at the steelworks, you didn't take these home with you or anything?
You did take them home with you. Yeah.
And how about washing facilities, you know, laundry
Well, you hadn't
facilities?
washing facilities at all, you just maybe washed your hands in a pipe that was running. But through the years we got a whole building built. It was a section of showers, wash hand basins, tables, even a canteen. So.
This is a photograph of Clydebridge Steelworks. Tom tells us about how Clydebridge Steelworks used to look when he was an employee.
It says medical centre. The next part is the amenity centre, where men could shower and change their clothes in lockers.
And the big blue building?
That is the plate mill, what they call the plate mill.
And the building in front of it?
Yes. Well, that's offices now. That's just office. That's just no long there. That's offices. Now, see the log sheds with the chimneys. That was the main part of the steelwork. That's where they made the steel. 10,000 tonne a week in there with 8 furnaces. 4 men in a furnace.
And this area here?
Well, this was always just like that. That was always, it was mostly, it was railway here, where the wagons come in with the scrap and just parked themselves here, you know. Then they drove them into the melting shop, the magnets lifted the scrap out, put them into boxes, and then they went into the furnace.
And this part right at the end?
That's the plate mill again.
Bill McFarlane recalls his working days in the paper mill, with some pictures taken from the Glasgow story.
Worked in the Clyde paper mill, Cambuslang Road, Rutherglen, from 1968 to 1958 to 1969.
What age were you when you started in there?
I was 17 when I started, and whatever age I was when I left.
How much did you get paid?
I started at a wage of £4 a week and ended up at £20 a week for a 72-hour week.
What did you do building in the paper mill? What was your duties?
I started originally in the colour shop, which I had to be tested for colour blindness for before I started. It turned out I was slightly colour blind, but it seems everybody's slightly colour blind. So I started in the colour shop, where we made colour out of clay, like china clay, which was watered down to a great extent, and then started with dyes to make mostly white paper, I must say, because there's several hundred different shades of white, and we also made colour papers for different magazines. The paper was used in every walk of life. It's amazing just how people use paper and don't realise.
The paper mill was producing at that time?
Well, they produced newsprint for the Evening Times, I believe, and the Citizen, if I recall right. But they made that went straight to be printed. That was a regular customer, the newsprint and the newspapers. And then, before the paper mill closed, there was a system, the Tetra Pak system it was called, where the paper was made. It was through a process coated it and it printed it, coated it on one side with polythene, and it waxed the other side. And this was used for making cartons for milk cartons. The rolls went straight to the dairies, the rolls of paper went straight to the dairies, and they went through another process there, which filled it with milk, or orange juice, or whatever it was they were producing. And of course this done away with milk bottles.
When was the Tetra Pak introduced? Was that?
That must have been the late 60s, maybe. I can't recall right. It was a different part of the factory from where I worked, but it must have been the mid-60s, I would say.
And that did have been the use of the glass bottles when the milk
Yes.
came? Yeah.
Back then, when I started in the paper mill, and for a long while after it, they still used horse and carts. There was 2 horses, there was stables right at the back end of the paper mill, where they kept 2 big heavy horses. One was a brown horse, one was a white horse, and the 2 old carters, they used to go down, take the carts down to the docks and bring back the bales of wood pulp, which came from Canada, I believe, and barrels of china clay, which came from Cornwall, I believe, the New Safers.
Mr. Gibb Fife, former member of Cambuslang Rangers, recalls his memories at the club. He refers to the winning team of 1932-33, who won the Glasgow Cup, and also went on to win the Consolation Cup and Eastern Charity Cup in the same year. The team photo, top row far left, is Peter Anderson, club president, also known as Uncle Pete to Gibb. Also top row middle is Dr. James Clark, who was the team goalkeeper for season 1932-33.
Right, my name is Gibb Fife. I was born in Cambuslang in 1924. I have supported Cambuslang Rangers as long as I can remember. My first real recollection of the team in detail was in season 32-33. In this particular year, they won 3 trophies, 1 on the Friday evening and 2 on the Saturday, which I think is still an all-time record. One of the specific items I'd mention about this, in this particular photograph, the gentleman who's the chairman was a Mr. Peter Anderson, and he was known to me as Uncle Pete. In actual fact, he wasn't my uncle, but he was my mother and father's best man. And in these days, I think it was pretty well normal to indicate that person as your uncle. And I used to stand outside the turnstile and ask for him. So when he came, I got in for nothing. Also in this picture, in the middle of the top row, there's a famous goalkeeper of Cambuslang who was a Dr. James Clark. He was really a tremendous goalkeeper. He got all the international caps going during his period at Cambuslang. My own standing in Cambuslang was that in 1946 I joined the supporters club, and in these days, unless you were a member of the supporters club committee, there was no hope of getting into the football club committee. So I joined them, and in 1948 I became a member of the committee, the Cambuslang Rangers committee. Following that, I was chairman from 1972 until 1999, with the exception of 2 years, 83 and 84, when I stepped back to play. The club really started in 1875.
1875. And where did they recruit the players from? Where did you get them?
Oh, strictly local. All local. Just working lads, and they initially called themselves the Excelsiors, and then indicating that it was a village team. And in these days, Cambuslang was split. You had Cambuslang Main Street and you had Up the Hill. Eventually there was a match between the normal working lads and the uphill people, and the outcome of that was that the working people won, and the forum called themselves Cambuslang Rangers.
And
worked in the pits.
Steelworks as well.
One?
And the Steelworks.
And the Steelworks, yes. The Steelworks, there was a lot of people in these days came from Motherwell to the Steelworks. Lots and lots of the people that worked in the Steelworks were originally from Motherwell, not from Cambuslang. They were all pretty well just in the doldrums until the 1932s. That was really the start of getting us all becoming more prominent.
As a club?
Yes. And in 1937-38 they went on to win the Scottish Cup. And the person right in the middle of that photograph was the captain when they won the Scottish Cup that year at Celtic Park. That was Paddy Leonard.
Just talk about the picture.
The Cambuslang Rangers team of 1932-33. The team that won 3 trophies in 2 days.
Some members of the group went out and filmed the sites of what used to be the Co-op, paper mill and steelworks. The Co-op was sited on Hamilton Road halfway. The new Co-op can be seen. Betty Sutherland, Mary Tilsley and Adam Good reflect on the good old days when they worked for the Co-op. Betty was very keen to recall the days on the van with Adam and what tricks of the trade were used back then.
Well, I started in the dairy at first, in cooperative dairy. I was 16, that was 1949, and within a matter of weeks I was put down into a cigarette kiosk. And that was a great job because you were everybody's pal, because the cigarettes were still scarce. You actually had cards, and you were allowed 20 cooperative cigarettes and 20 like caps in a woodbine, and you'd all these cards with the customers' numbers on it, and they had to come and show you their number, and you gave them the cigarettes.
Was that still as the ration booths?
They were just similar to the ration booths.
I joined in 51 into the mobile shopping van, and I was lumbered with Mary as the assistant. About 3 years in that, in the shopping van, and we'd done so well it didn't change a winning team. Kept us together 3 years after, and I was promoted from there to Newton.
That's when he went up to Newton Co-op as a manager.
And it was a couple of years then, and Westburn became vacant and I was moved down to Westburn branch. And then from Westburn I was moved up to Cathkin, opened a new branch in Cathkin at that time when they built the Cathkin scheme. So I was up there for a couple of years and then come down to halfway. So I finished up at halfway.
When you started, did you...
Well, before I went to the Air Force, I had 6 months driving without a licence, defensive realm licence. But when I come back, I had to sit a driving test.
I see.
So when I come back from the Air Force, I was demobbed. I sat the driving test and progressed from there. They opened I started a shopping van, and I was one of the shopping van.
Latterly I was a driver. I was put in the van like Mary, I wanted into the cigarette case. And Mr. Howe wouldn't let me in, so I was put in the Flemington van.
And how did you get your test?
Well,
did you sit a test for
I
that?
learned driving from stop to stop. I was only the assistant then, so I drove from stop to stop. This was training for me, unlicensed.
You're supposed to say that.
All these years ago.
It was legitimate then, wasn't it?
No, you weren't supposed to. No, you should have had a place up. I didn't have it. I was a baddie. But anyway, we learned to drive. I learned to drive there. Then prefabs it was there. The Scottish Specials that's there now.
Actually, you know about the first female driver
That
in
was
the
the first
force.
Gilbertfields. That was
Becky,
and then
was that before they used to take a trailer over every morning to the prefabs, and the trailer sat there all day and they brought it back at night?
well, that was before my time.
That before that?
That was before my
Jim-
time.
Jim-
Trailer of goods.
Trailer, yeah, it was a shopping
That's
van
a shop
without
van.
an engine, and Jim David towed it over to the prefabs every morning,
Left it there.
and left it there, and two worked it all day, and he'd back in the afternoon, pulled it back over.
Well, we had a driver then, you see.
Another driver.
Obviously, they didn't have a driver then.
Didn't have a driver.
No, well, it was
The
great.
heyday was the end of the quarter.
Well, that's right, I know.
Stock taking end of the financial year.
Oh, I know.
They
Never
took all their
had.
accounts had to be cleared, then the dividend was declared, and if the end of the quarter was on a Tuesday, the Wednesday was "Thou shalt not want." You can go and get as
Everybody
much
got it.
credit as you wanted.
Got it in tick.
We were supposed to have a half day on a Wednesday. We went down to the circuit 9 o'clock say in the morning, and we weren't out. But to come back up, get more stuff, and get back down and work for afternoon. Everybody was.
Remember, we had to plead with them to let us go.
Let's go, get up,
Because
get
they're
more
saying,
stuff.
you'll not come back,
You'll
you'll
not
not
come
come
back.
back.
No, you're
We're
not
going
going away,
honest,
you're
we'll
not
come
going
back, we'll
But
come back.
But if you went, you wouldn't have the masses of traffic to get through.
Oh no,
You know,
Oh, no.
no.
It
It
was
was,
quiet run.
Well, latterly I was in the Catholic van, you see, I was the driver there. And the shoes feet, many a Friday night I was late and going in. And when I went in, Jimmy Stevens had cleaned up the ham machine. Oh, and he did not like
Like
me
that.
going in looking for a ham and tailgate. He had to clean the machine again, you know, if I was told somebody would bring them bacon or something up, you know. And
See what? I remember on a Friday night, we were almost late on a Friday night, and the shop was closed and they wouldn't stay open for us. We had to hide the cash in the van overnight.
Really?
I never did that
And
for
did
the right on the
Did
cab.
it ever get stolen?
no.
It shows
Oh,
you know.
it's
Nobody knew.
You think of
Yeah.
lawless times they weren't.
Well, they wouldn't wait in the shop. The shop closed at 6 o'clock on a Friday night.
Half 6.
6:30. And we were always later than that. We're never finished before 7 o'clock.
Really, it's long hours.
And no overtime for it.
Oh, no, you didn't.
The photograph is of Hallside coal miners. Betty gives us an insight of life back then for the miners.
Coal mining has existed in Cambuslang for around 600 years. Primitive mining techniques involved digging into the raised banks of the river and tunnelling for as far as reasonably good air lasted. All members of the family were expected to help in extracting the coal. And as in all mining areas, children of both sexes were put to work in the mines, carrying weights of up to 1.5 hundredweight from the age of 6, and were expected to do this for 12 hours a day. It was dangerous work. One doctor described the Gilbertfield colliery as the slaughterhouse. An explosion in 1877 in Dixon's mines killed 211 men and boys. 10 years later, 1887, Udston Colliery near Udston saw the deaths of 73 men and boys. The miners worked hard, but they also played hard. Between 1887 and 1888, Cambuslang Football Club, composed entirely of miners and their sons, entered 4 cup finals and won. In addition, the tug-of-war teams beat all comers, including police, army and navy teams.
Mick McGahey was a much-loved figure in Scottish trade unionism. He growled for social justice, a growl hardened by stiff drink and strong tobacco. Much of his NUM activity took place in Cambuslang, and today, with his widow looking on, tributes were paid to him.
He was down to earth, he spoke the men's language and had a raw honesty about him. I thought was essentially Mick McGahey.
He lived here at one time. His brother Jock McGahey, he was the local mining leader and played a great role within the mines round about here.
Often portrayed as a wild Kremlin sympathiser, that view was more smear than real. McGahey was, in fact, deeply pragmatic. He disagreed with Arthur Scargill's tactics in the strike of 1984, but kept his dissent silent.
The NUM was his life, the NUM and the Communist Party were his two loves. His trade union work and his political work. And a lot of that was done round about Cambuslang.
Cambuslang and Hoover are synonymous. Today, though, was about recognising the town's mining heritage. The impressive pit wheels sit proudly over a plaque which remembers the men and indeed the children who were exploited for profit. Today, those who paid with their lives were told they would never be forgotten.